Willing lawbreakers offering themselves up in Parliament Square today to a heavy police presence by very obviously showing support for an organisation the government has banned for engaging in terrorist activities.
It's a very similar scene to that of a month ago when 531 people were arrested. And it's exactly the same drill. The protesters write on their placards the words Palestine Action, and then the police swoop in and pick them off and arrest them one by one.
Good man.
Apparently I'm a terrorist. It's news to me grandkids anyway.
We're going over there.
Like last time, many of those being marched into the police vans were older people. They did so with cheers of support from the crowds, while the police were jeered.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Despite the insistence of organisers that this should be a peaceful and sometimes silent protest as before, today's atmosphere was more tense, almost as if the police and the protesters knew the script this time round.
Are you prepared to be arrested today?
Yes, I am. The government is complicit in the atrocities that are going on out there, and Palestine Action aren't terrorists, they're people of conscience.
Palestine Action was proscribed as a terror organisation in July after the group claimed responsibility when 2 Voyager planes were damaged at RAF Bryce Norton in June. The Home Office is likely to appeal against a High Court ruling allowing Palestine Action's co-founder Huda Amori to go ahead with a legal challenge over the group's ban.
Everybody in Parliament Square today is campaigning to get the ban on Palestine Action lifted. And that is because we do not believe that Palestine Action meets the criteria for being designated as a terrorist organisation.
The legal challenge over the ban will now be on the desk of the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. A decade ago, while a backbencher, she took part herself in a protest at a branch of Sainsbury's over the sale of Israeli products.
We managed to close down that store for 5 hours. On a Saturday. This is how we can make a difference.
Back to today, and after multiple arrests, the atmosphere has become more tense with reports of violent clashes.
Out of the way! Out of the way!
Police drew batons and territorial support group officers were called in. The Metropolitan Police said their officers had been prevented from carrying out their duties and there had been physical and verbal abuse towards them, with a number of arrests being made for assault.
Let's clear some room.
Special areas have been set up around Westminster where those arrested will be taken for processing. The strain on police time and on the court system will be immense, which is of course what the protesters want.
Now, the Israeli military has told Palestinians to leave Gaza City and move south to a humanitarian zone it says it's establishing in Al-Mawasi. It's been expanding its operations, targeting high-rise buildings in preparation for seizing Gaza City, which is home to nearly 1 million people. New warnings were issued for 2 high-rises today as leaflets were dropped telling people to evacuate the city. Israel has also launched airstrikes on Al-Mawasi throughout the war, despite previously declaring it a safe zone. Well, earlier I spoke to UNICEF spokesperson Chess Ingram, who's in Al-Mawasi. I began by asking her what the situation is like there.
There are hundreds of thousands of people here lined up along the beach. They've set up makeshift shelters. Sometimes those shelters are tents, sometimes they're built with whatever they can find, pieces of tarpaulins or blankets strung up on pieces of steel and wood. The Al-Mawasi area is a coastal strip, so people have set this up on sand dunes, and then further into the east, it's a massive displacement camp. And as far as you can see, you see tent after shelter after tent after shelter. And within that, a population of people who've endured almost 2 years of a horrendous conflict. They're exhausted, they're traumatized, there's not enough food and water to go around. Children need clothes and shoes and shelter. This is a place where families are struggling to survive already.
On a daily basis, what is it like for people to get food?
Most of the families I speak to tell me that they go to a community kitchen where they're able to get one meal a day. And that meal is for the family, not for an individual. It's a bowl of rice or lentils in most cases, and they share that. Parents have told me that they often skip eating any of it so that the children can eat.
UNICEF has just put out this report about the latest statistics about malnutrition, saying that 7,000 children are being impacted and given support in this. What more can you tell us about that?
Every month for 6 months, the number of children seeking treatment for malnutrition at our clinics has gone up. For example, in February, it was just over 2,000 children that we admitted for treatment. In July, it had skyrocketed to 13,000. And in the first 2 weeks of August alone, it's already over 7,000. So it's tracking high again. And I think this is yet another confirmation point that a famine is unfolding in Gaza Strip. And I saw it when I was in Gaza City. I've just spent almost 2 weeks in Gaza City where a famine has been confirmed, talking with families there, and they're despairing. Mothers know what they need to do to save their children. They need food, they need safe water, they need treatments for malnutrition. But it's incredibly difficult for them to access what they need, and so they're watching their children starve.
It will seem very far removed. We've had a reshuffle of government. Yvette Cooper is now going to be the Foreign Secretary. What would you say to her about the situation in Gaza, and what message do you want to get through to her right now?
Children with acute malnutrition, children with serious traumatic injuries that I saw in hospitals in Gaza City this week. They need our help. They need the international community to open their doors and their hospitals and offer the life-saving treatment that they need to survive. That's key.
Tess,
on top of that,
sorry to interrupt you, but would you have seen that there was, or there is, a scheme that's happening at the moment where you have medically evacuated children that are meant to be coming to the UK? That was talked about weeks ago. Are you not hearing any more about that scheme and what's happening to those kids?
it's been weeks, but we haven't seen movement. And every day that passes, a child that needs that medical evacuation dies. So we don't have time to wait, and we need governments to step up and move on this with urgency because children's lives depend on it.
Tess Ingram, thank you very much indeed. Tess Ingram from UNICEF there.
Thank you.